Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of Erin's Book Club. I have a book review to do today, and I'm still kind of conflicted about it, but I think my final answer is I really do enjoy it. The book review I have to do is Ashlords, Ride or Die by Scott Reintgen? Probably said that wrong. I'm really sorry. I am not good with names. Anyway, the thing that drew me in on this book is the cover. If you notice the cover here, there we go. Beautiful cover. This is what's called a phoenix horse, and I'll tell you more about that in the very near future. But before we go further into it, let me read the back of it so that you have a better idea of what's going on. So, Imelda is a dividend, too poor to afford the cost of entry, until her alchemy videos create a media storm that throws her headfirst in the competition as a fan favorite. Pippa is an Ashlord, the ruling class and the expected winner, but when she falls for a competitor, will she ruin her chances of inheriting the crown? Adrian is a longhand, known for the vast wealth and failed rebellions. He is a symbol of revolution and the last chance of his people to rise against the Ashlord. And then the heading to that is, champions are not born, they're made. And when I first picked up the book, again, I was super excited because it was a horse theme and I wanted to know all about these new phoenixes. And again, very exciting. And it's the first time, I have to say, it's the first time I read a magic-infused or magic-focused novel in what I would call a modern world. So there's like magic and gods and the belief in the gods, but there's also like the equivalent to our YouTube channel and other social medias in this world, which was an interesting concept and kind of refreshing to the same old. My one disappointment here is with the title and with the backing, I thought maybe the main focus would be the Phoenix horses. They're not really. They're kind of a background vehicle for the race, and literally vehicle, because these Phoenix horses are gifts from the Ashlords, gods, to help the Ashlords defeat the invading peoples, which was the Dividends and the Longhorns. And what happened was the invaders failed, and so the Ashlords, with their gods, helped drive them back and then put them into subservience, to the point where one of the races that fought against the Ashlords, as punishment, what they did was they hunted down the firstborn of every one of that person that left and kill it. Didn't matter if they were infants or elderly, they were killed. And at first I got really angry when I read that. I was like, how cruel, how awful to do something like that. But then in the back of my head, I still had to keep thinking, these people were in the invaders. So the Ashlords were just taking revenge on being invaded. And it was hard to see that concept because the Ashlords are kind of heartless. They're kind of cruel, and the Ashlords themselves will admit that. So it was very hard to empathize for them or with them. Another reason for that too is, like, you get the perspective of the three characters here throughout the story, and each perspective has a different viewpoint. And one of the viewpoints is, you did this, you said this, you looked here. The other one is, I did this, I said this, I looked here. And then the third one is, person's name did this, said this, So that was very jarring to read at first. So the first little bit of the story, really, I had a hard time following the flow of it. And I really found out that I really dislike the you did this, you did that. I think that's first person perspective. I may be wrong, because I kind of resented being told who I had to emphasize with. And I know that's not what the case was, but in my mind, if you're telling me that I'm this person, you've been saying you, you're telling me I should empathize with this person. It ended up being Pippa, the Ashlord, who was basically a spoiled, rotten brat who was just considered the jewel of the race, and the race was all about her and nothing else. And her parents trained her to be the race all about her because she was the child of champions before, and I didn't like her. And her character did do a lot of growth, and that was interesting to read about, but I didn't like her. I did not like her, and I did not like having to be called you with her. I most think I most emphasized with the Imelda character, because she seemed, I don't know, she seemed more downtrodden and more to what I would be like. I didn't like how again, all of these are going to be non-spoiler free, so just letting you know, if you have not read the book, read it and come back. I did not like in the end of these, of the story, and the end of the race, what we ended up having was a war and a revolution starting. So the end of the race was whoever won. I think it was Pippa. Well, they say Pippa won, but she won with the help of her god spirit. So I don't even know if that's winning. But anyway, she won, and one of the other main characters jumped the wall and started a revolution on her own with the other rebels. So at the end of the race, that really was the beginning of the war, and it was just not something that I kind of enjoyed very much, because if you're going to start a war, I want to know how the end of the war is, and I want to know what part of the war was, and it doesn't tell you that. It tells you the beginning of the war and what the first battle was, and that kind of thing. But I want to know more, and I don't think this is a series, because it doesn't say it's book 1, unless there's going to be a book 2, and then great, tell me about the war. I'd like to learn more about it. I'd also like to know how the Phoenixes become part of that. And that was another thing that was jarring. Like, I'm a horse lover. You guys obviously have seen my channel. You know I'm a horse lover. I was all for the whole Phoenix things rising again, but in the book, the Phoenixes don't die on their own when the night hits. They are killed by their riders who apparently love them. And like, one of the riders, Pippa, she feeds them poison, and that kills them, which was traumatizing enough. But there's another rider who takes a sword and runs it through the neck of one of the Phoenix horses, and the author describes the Phoenix horse crying out in pain while it dies. Like, horrible things. And I get that it's important for the story, but very jarring, and I don't think I'll get used to that. But I want to know more about that. Like, if you didn't kill the horse would the Phoenix die on its own? I don't know. And how are the Phoenixes bred? Because throughout the story it says how Pippa was riding a Phoenix that was bred to be a champion from the get-go, and then there was another one where one of the riders, the third one, what was his name? Adrian. His Phoenix was a purebred, which apparently means that it's bonded to its rider and it will flame out if somebody tries to steal it. I want to know more about that. I want to know more lore about that. That was just kind of skimmed through. So it was a very good book, but I want something more in depth. I either want a guide on Phoenixes, or it would be great if this was a series and the start of a series, because I love the author's work. I love how he keeps you interested throughout the end. I want more. I guess that's what it boils down to, is I want more. And I think it's one that you guys should go out and read if you're into that kind of thing. So, Ashlords by Scott, Mr. Reintgen? Wow, am I awful with names or what? I am so sorry. I'm just going to call you Scott. You do a wonderful job. I thank you very much. And to the rest of my BookTube channel, I will let you know when I have another book read. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.